To see examples of what we talked about on this episode, along with further information, go to bunchofdorks.com.
Welcome everyone to
Two Dimension Podcast,
the comic book podcast
with no direction. What's up, everybody? You know that song, you know this voice. It's your boy Rook. Joining me as always is the man with the plan. It's Mr. Don Moore.
Hello, everybody.
Our guest this evening, coming to us with an amazing comic book, Madcaps. Everybody, welcome to the show, DM Ray Jameson.
Thank you for having me. We're looking forward to talking about this beautiful book I've been putting together.
Oh, man, thank you. I mean, it has been... We've had, like, one thing get in front of us after another getting you on the show, even up till tonight. So I'm really glad we finally get a chance to talk.
Yes, the last time was just at the start of summer, and I had to bail last minute due to food poisoning.
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah. How are you doing now?
I'm definitely better. In fact, all the weight I lost, I might have gotten back plus some, so we're good to go.
There you go.
Yeah, not fun.
So for our listeners, the book is called Madcap. Give them just a quick idea of what this book is about.
Well, the Madcaps, Lori Calcaterra once put a summary where she compared it, there's a little bit of Monster House, a little bit of 1980s Legend, the movie, a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy, and a little bit of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The premise of this story is it's a night in the life of being a fly on the wall and watching these friends be friends, essentially. It starts off with entering their hometown, and there's an outbreak of the undead, and it's concluded after the first issue it might have something to do with a local drug that's been circulating as of late. And the four of them, the reason I chose the word the Madcaps was Madcaps just means eccentric or not quite average. And all four of these characters are non-humans, and they grew up in a city or a town that is predominantly human. So they just kind of stand out in their own little unique eccentric ways. We've got characters ranging from over 6.5 feet tall to under 4 feet, and they're all very different in their own respect.
And it's all done in this amazing world, very fantasy-based. When you first messaged me, you sent me an image, and I went and I looked up the book, and I went, okay, this is right up my alley. Yes, let's talk.
Yes, I didn't say it's definitely fantasy, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's funny because we got talking, I think, before your Kickstarter for issue 2. And I was able to jump on issue 2's Kickstarter, got the first 2 issues. Now you're working to put out number 3, the final issue?
Yep, number 3. This is my first time on the creative side of a comic. I am not arrogant enough to think I'm going to be making this great monthly, super successful book. What I wanted to do was get this story out of my system, just like a shark that needs to swim. I needed to make this expression of a story, and I wanted it to be short enough, something enjoyable for a couple of issues, and depending how it goes, if I'm really enjoying it and there's enough people that express interest, I'm more than happy to make another mini-series and see where this takes me.
Nice. So you said this is your first time on this side of a comic book project?
The creative side.
The creative side. What else have you been working on in the past?
In the past? Well, I got a couple of different things going on. On the back burner right now, I've got some board games, but I can't talk too much about those right now. I do a lot of D&D. I've played with like pro voice actors in California. I've had some of them even do the voices of some of my characters for the trailers in the last 2 Kickstarter campaigns for issues 1 and 2. And everything few and far in between.
Man, That is awesome. I absolutely love that. So now writing D&D games, playing D&D, as anybody who can attest, we all love it. Except Don, he doesn't know. How much did your D&D game influence the ideas behind what you were producing for a comic book?
So this one, there's a lot of influence from the first homebrew campaign I ever ran. The biggest difference is it's a prequel, and the characters that played in the homebrew, I took them out and I subbed them in for my own created characters. And I was actually pleasantly surprised how efficient it was to produce the script. The reason I say proficient, sometimes really good stories take a long time to write. I'm not saying I ripped through it in an evening or anything like that, but because of the characters, all of the characters I based off of, the main characters I based off of people I know, and I think that was the main contributing variable. I don't want to say it wrote itself, but it was very easy to understand what would happen next based off of real life people.
Right on.
So it's been a lot of fun.
That's a really cool way to write, you know, working it off based off of the real things that have happened. The guys from Crit literally play a D&D game and then produce a comic book.
Chris Saloff, yes.
Yeah, Chris, absolutely. Yeah,
yes.
Great. He knows Chris, he knows Lori. Who else do you know that we've talked to?
Well, man, I do a lot of comic reviews. I'm pushing 40 reviews now. I've reviewed Crit, Path of the Pale Rider, Lori Calcaterra, man, a wide range. Carissa Grant with her Worthy Chaos, Tom Hutchinson's Critter. I reviewed, believe it or not, in one review, which I believe was under 5 minutes, I reviewed the first 24 issues, which was quite a feat.
Huh?
It was big build up to issue number 25 and the 15-year anniversary of that story. And I haven't read 25 yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Good Lord, how do you... Okay, where can we find these reviews? I need to see how you do 20 issues in 5 minutes.
24.
24,
yeah,
pardon me.
20. 5 minutes. You can find me on Facebook. Just look up DM Ray. My profile is issue 1 of the Madcaps. So there's 4 fantasy-like characters on there. If you go through my videos, you'll find it on there.
Heck yeah. I'm going to have to go hunt that one down tonight.
Yeah, there's some really good stories in the indie community, and I'm happy to review for anybody. One thing I really like to highlight is it's mainstream comics are like McDonald's. You can travel anywhere in the world, or anywhere in the country at least, and a Big Mac is a Big Mac. You know what you're getting yourself into. Indie comics are like quality Chinese food restaurants. They're all different, and they're all awesome for their own reasons.
Heck yeah.
That's a good synopsis. When I came into your story, and I'm sorry to even say this, I came in with some preconceived notions. You know, you're a dungeon master, and looking at the comic, the artwork is really nice. But when I first looked at it, all I thought was, okay, this is another Dungeons and Dragons kind of role-playing game comic. There's nothing wrong with it. I played Dungeons and Dragons a few times in 1979. And, yeah, I know. And every
That's
time...
a good song by the Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay, what? But every time in comic books or heavy metal magazine, they'd introduce, have an advertisement, a comic book advertisement about one of the role-playing games. And it's always a mixed crew, always going on a long trek like they did in Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and all this stuff. And they always go to a dungeon and try to get treasure. The ones I've read. Now, this is a long time ago.
I understand, yes.
Always the same thing.
I get you.
And also, I never thought about it until I read your book, but extremely selfish. They're selfish characters.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm reading your book, it surprised me in every direction. One, I liked how two characters that go into the city. Anytime you read a Conan book and Conan the Barbarian's trying to go into the city, it's always hostile. He always has to fight his way in. I was interested how they had a checkpoint and what had happened. I'm not giving things away in the book except for that one part. Whenever people that had known each other, in every barbarian comic I've ever read, they always hate each other. There's always bad blood. There's always this and that. Your characters have a history. But I was surprised, one, how you introduced each character and how each character met up with each other. It was really quick and neat. That's the only word I can think of.
Like quick, but not like forced or rushed or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was natural.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say that, fantasy, when I say this is a fantasy book. There's a lot of fantastic in it, which I like in a comic. But people acting, or people non-human people acting naturally, and your what's going on is something I've never read in a fantasy book. Also, the municipality, how the government works, and all the different, the market and everything else.
Yeah, you really did a lot of world building before you even sat down.
Yeah, and I want to say that I like word building. I hate to say it because it always brings up preconceived notions. Like I walked in with 50 billion of these things when I was starting to read the book. They all fell by the wayside, and that's the same thing with this one. It's a world building, but it's a world that you enter and you believe right away, and it's just there. And I'm kind of surprised at how the characters interact with each other, and they're certainly not selfish characters. And at the end of the first issue, when you had the write-up about each character, I thought, yeah, that's what I read in there. I take my hat off. It was a really nice book.
Right on. One thing I tried really hard to do, well, two things. The first one you mentioned, world building. In really good stories that I've read, things will be mentioned in passing, again, naturally thrown in, or just naturally mentioned. Anytime it's forced, the person talking might as well be winking to the reader or the cameraman. You know what I'm talking about? It just doesn't feel natural. But there's things going on that you wouldn't necessarily know all about, or maybe you have questions for you don't get the answers for. It should feel like you're revolving around these four people. They understand the world entirely. You get little snippets, and I tried to make it feel as though the world exists before the story, and the world will exist after the story. And little things like there's a harvest gala in the first issue at the start, and there's other dynamics. For example, when there's an outbreak of the undead, which is pacified, they talk about burning all the bodies because that's policy in the city. Oh, there's policies. That's interesting. And I wanted it to feel like if you landed in a random country and you existed in the streets for an hour and then flew away, you would have a lot of questions. That's interesting. This is neat. It's obvious there's a lot of life to be lived there.
Yeah.
The second thing I really wanted to do is, although stereotypes with characters are awesome, I didn't want to be so cliche. For example, the largest guy, Madcaps, this large, essentially descendant of an electric kaiju eel, he's a big, brutish-looking individual, and anytime you see something like in a superhero team, for example, the big guy is usually average intelligence at best, and is good for nothing more than absorbing a bunch of impact at the start so all the cooler guys can do cool stuff. Madcaps, the most dangerous thing about him, despite him being over 6.5 feet tall and clearing 350 pounds of body weight, his most interesting thing is his brain. That's the most threatening thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any formal education in the arcane, but he dabbles in it, and that shows a lot of promise and potential. You get to see a lot of cool stuff. In the first issue, for example, he catches a zombie by the throat and just lights its head on fire, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I don't mention it yet in the comic, and this is not a spoiler, but Madcaps, he obviously can wield a bit of fire. only if he can touch it. It's not like he can launch fire from his hands or anything like that. So there are limitations. That's another thing I wanted to do with the characters. Pardon me. I didn't want them to be the mightiest of individuals in the land. I wanted there to be gravity in their actions. Madrakis, for example, since we were already talking about him, he's able to store lightning in his gizzard and vomit it out, basically.
Yeah, what a cool idea.
Just like a snake with its poison or a skunk with its smelly defense mechanism, he can't just do that indefinitely. So at the start there, you see him do that, but then later on, in a couple of pages later, he gets pinned down with two other of his friends, and that's used up. He can't use it anymore. So there's some cool signatures of these individuals and some cool metaphorical haymakers, but that doesn't mean they're the mightiest in the realm. If anything, they're not even close. I wanted this to feel like a very intimate story, something that people could relate to. And I've said this on other podcasts. If I was 8 years old and I had to make a random superhero team, all of them would be the most muscular, the most powerful. They would be infallible, and there'd be absolutely nothing for anybody to relate to.
Yeah.
And in real life, the only person that can relate to a world champion in boxing is if you've been a world champion. Well, that's a very minute amount of people. But if you have individuals that have to make careful decisions in life, if you have characters like that, the reader can relate to it, and that's how I wanted this to feel like it played out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one thing I liked about this, and you hit on it, but I just want to say it again. The characters care about other people. They care about society. And
yeah.
you talked about the burning bodies. The one friend that was kind of in charge of things, he was making sure it wasn't contagious. Yes. Little touches like that. I mean, these are, nothing's ever black and white, but these guys are good guys. I mean, they're sometimes kind of complicated, but they all have good, motives. I like that.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that.
One thing that has fallen by the wayside, and it's nobody's fault, it was just an interesting evolution in storytelling with comics. Especially in the 90s, the anti-hero became very popular.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with a good anti-hero story, but people don't realize how much they appreciate good people doing good things.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're saying there. It's gotten to the point where, Punisher is cool, Venom's cool, Spawn is cool, but darn it, in 2011 when Captain America came out, that stood out like a sore thumb in all the good ways, and people realized, or this last Superman movie, it's been divisive, but the phrase being kindness is the new punk.
Yep.
We've gone so far into embracing, for lack of better wording, what people would label as complicated or bad people that happen to be doing the right thing, that it's almost a breath of fresh air or novel to have people doing good stuff that's also cool.
Yeah.
But that somehow has been lost for the majority.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you made a great example with the new Superman movie. Kindness is the new punk. Good Lord, that took off like a freaking rocket. I saw it all over the internet.
Yeah, that's Gen Z and Gen Alpha in a nutshell.
Yeah. Now, the funny thing is going downtown right now, and every once in a while you'll see, a couple of the punks running around. I actually spotted one the other day with a Superman patch on his vest. I was like, that's cool. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. That's terrific. That movie has generated a lot of interest in the local comic shops. Mm-hmm. It did its job regardless. Some people say the ticket sales are mediocre. I say it did its job. In long term, I think it's going to there's going to be some real positive repercussions from it. So I say it's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So jumping back to the book, I noticed that you could change artists from issue 1 and 2. Was that something that was forced on you, or was that something you decided while working on the second issue?
Well, the first artist, Evan Quiring, he has a day job and he has his own comic books. So essentially, shout out to Evan. check out his stuff. He has an interesting one called The Murder City Devil, which is a modern take on Spring-Heel Jack. He also has Lucha Mysteries, which is a really wild one about Mexican wrestlers and alien spaceships and stuff. You can go check it out.
Dig it.
But there's only so many hours a day, and you can only spread any one individual to so much. So I was very, very fortunate to have him for issue 1. Because of scheduling, and I can't wait forever, like these issues have been coming out annually, I had to get the ball rolling. And Victor Medina, he, I found him online, and I was really happy with what he brought to the table. I really liked his stuff, so he started doing number 2 for me. He's actually doing the main the main cover of issue 3.
Okay.
He's done. That's going to be debuted later this month. And also, if you guys are familiar with artist Harv Salterez, he did the first year of Dan Ketch's run of Ghost Rider in 1990. That was one of the first comics I ever collected as a kid, like back issues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he is, let's just say, Victor Medina, he's doing the main protagonist cover, and then Harv Salterez is doing the main antagonist cover of this book.
Oh, crap.
And, we get to add to this. So, Harv Salterez, I mentioned Ghost Rider, which is essentially Marvel's equivalent of a Hellspawn. It's colored by Dan Kemp, who's colored over 100 issues of Spawn, basically 50 to 150 in issues. So I have 2 artists who have done different Hellspawn interpretations from different series, combining their forces to make an antagonist cover for me. And this is the first time I'm saying it aloud to anybody. So this is an exclusive.
Oh, and you have to do it on the show where one of the guys is a huge Ghost Rider fan.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So, anybody listening, I bet you can't guess which cover I'm buying. Absolutely freaking awesome, man. That is so cool.
We have other artists making different. I wanted to have in each issue a main cover with all 4 characters, and then also I wanted to do individual covers of each character. So I've been consistent with that, and the same will apply to this issue. I just also have that antagonist cover. This is the second time I've had Harv Salterez make a cover for me. In issue 1, one of the variant covers is of Sarlacc the Dwarf holding a beheaded monster. That is said Ghost Rider artist. Having this man draw characters that I've created, I've said this on other podcasts, it's the equivalent of having like an Elvis Presley or a Kurt Cobain perform a song that I've written. I don't know how else to put that.
Yep.
And that's the majority of my life. I've been looking at these people, this craft and their expressions, and it's a really cool full circle thing to have them on board.
That is so awesome for you, man. I'm just over here smiling just thinking about how freaking cool that is.
You know what? If you want, go ahead. I want to. I can share the image with you. Just don't describe it. But
oh man, he's gonna.
You continue to talk. I'll
Yeah.
pick this up.
I don't normally like to see artists change during the story, and I really like the art on the first issue immensely. But I enjoyed seeing the change in the second one, and that's one of the few times I've ever said that. It was neat to see them drawn. I mean, it's the same characters, but it was done in a different way, in a different style, and I didn't find it off-putting at all.
I'm very fortunate. The transition was likable. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
It wasn't jarring, like you said. I was very happy. I think a couple of things to keep consistency. I had the same colorist, like I mentioned, Dan Kemp, who's colored Spawn 50 to 150. He used the consistently colored through the whole thing. Same letterer, Micah Myers. Obviously, same writer, myself. To have that one change and not be jarring, I'm happy with results. I did send the image through. I don't know if you saw it.
I'm looking at this beauty right now, and even without color, I'm just looking at it going, yeah, I know this art. I know this art very well. Oh, so cool, man.
In issues 1 and 2, there's no real mention of what is who's responsible for what's going on. That cover is a dead giveaway for issue 3. It's almost like the inverse. I mentioned Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, an older movie. They're always chased by bounty hunters in that. They're always getting away, and the caption is always, "Who are those guys?" In this, it's kind of the opposite. They're chasing down the "Who are those guys" equivalent. And, they might be biting off more than they can chew. That's all I have to say about that.
That seems to be a reoccurring comment throughout issue 2. We're over our heads. This is more than we're supposed to be doing. It's very much that Star Wars, I have a bad feeling about this moment.
Yes. The one thing I really like, is you already mentioned it, Chazko, who's a very careful individual, the average human would be terrified of what he actually is. He hides his appearance. He mentions how, when do we admit we're in over our heads?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not mercenaries. We are not trained warriors, and we're going to go into this hideout. If there's drugs going through there, that means there's hired muscle. Like, when do we draw the line?
Yeah.
And the big fella Madrakis, he has a bad reputation with Ivood. He says, I don't need to add to that. Like, if something bad happens and they see me involved, I don't have any type of advantage. Nothing working for me. The trouble's just going to be dumped on me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I really like how the second issue played. I got to debut a little bit more of everybody's abilities or powers. And again, I felt it was natural. I didn't try to force it in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
It's very torturous. I was going to say, it's very torturous not being able to talk about issue 3.
I like everything you just mentioned in the book. That's one of the things I liked the most about it was they may seemed over their heads, but I was never reading this like they were actually in trouble. I mean, I could see the struggle.
I understand, yeah.
They're not warriors, but they are heroic people, or heroic creatures. And they care about everyone around them. And, they're actually impressive. They're using intelligence, they're using wits. And I like the fact it's not easy for them, but I don't see it. Sometimes I read some stories and you're thinking, these guys are just, there's no way they're going to get through this. It's just by sheer luck. This one, I really enjoyed this, and it's unique. And like I said, I came in with 15 million preconceived notions. I apologize for that.
All good, man. I understand.
They were all knocked out of the water. My question is, after these 3 issues, do you have plans to use these characters again?
Well, that depends if they survive. Hypothetically speaking, I'm definitely open. I'm open to continuing on with story. I have a lot of information about these characters, and I have no problem expressing it in more comics. Absolutely.
I got you. I understand.
That was
the characters.
That was such a great answer. I swear to God, you definitely hang out with Lori and chat with her quite a bit, because that felt like a very Lori Calcaterra answer. Ray, I know it's almost time for you to go, but before you do, I want to make sure we get this out there. Where can everybody find you and Madcaps across the internet?
Okay, so by the time this podcast goes live public, you will be able to find our 3rd Kickstarter pre-launch link. We're not launching till April, but I'm just starting to get myself out there on different podcasts. Halloween is just a great time. Based off of that image I just shared with you, you can understand why it's something. And the pre-launch, look up the Madcaps issue number 3 by Filbo Publishing. You can find me also on Facebook as DM Ray, DM being short for Dungeon Master. You can also find me on Facebook. We have a Madcaps page. And I'm also on what is now known as Twixter. And you can find me on Instagram as Raymond the DM. Instagram I use a bit too. The big ones are, for now, Facebook. I'm looking to expand, but as of right now, I'm just happy to be on podcasts and talk about some really, really cool stuff. And it's been lots of fun. And again, if anybody is listening, my elevator pitch of this story, every human being after they hit a certain age, there's friends or circles they don't get to hang out with as much as they used to. And there could be a wide range of reasons for that. This could include moving or having other responsibilities, be it a job or school or otherwise. And every human being, when you get to see a very close friend you haven't seen in a while, even if it's 5 minutes in a coffee shop or if it's for a weekend, your very essence is recharged. And that's the best way to put it. This story is an homage to that level of camaraderie. It's just told through the theme of fantasy setting through the medium of a comic book. So if any of or all of what I just said resonates with you, it's a short story, 3 issues total. You do not have to have a lot of investment. It's not 60 years of comic lore. As already mentioned by my 2 very kind hosts, you get a lot of a feel for these characters within the first handful of issues, to know enough about them to appreciate 3 issues. There's no expectations going into it. I am, of course, going to be biased, but I think it is something that you'll be pleasantly surprised on. And I'm just looking forward to getting this final issue out and finally being able to talk about all this.
Looking forward to it. April can't come soon enough now.
Yes, sir.
Ray, it has been a pleasure. You come back anytime you want. Definitely, we've got to figure out, get you back on before April so we can talk about it again. But until next time, everybody,
Read
more
Comics.
You can hear our most recent 20 episodes on iTunes. If you would like to hear our older episodes, you can find them on our blog. Just go to bunchofdorks.com and click on the Cyclops.
Joe Dimension can be found on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. If you like what you hear, you can subscribe, rate, leave a review, tell a friend, or like us on Facebook. Thanks for listening.
Do you want to be part of the show? Draw us a fake comic book cover, and we'll use it to promote new episodes online.
If you'd like to promote your music, send us your MP3 and you can have a musical spotlight on our show. Plus, we'll add your link on our music page.
We have 3 t-shirt designs. Find them on the sidebar of the blog. Listen to the show. Wear the shirt.